Okay,
Alright.
so
Ah,
we are
yay, we're in
playing
game.
What's a
Orianna
game? I
versus
forgot.
Brand
What year is it?
in the mid lane.
The
Let's set
year
up.
is
I consider this a
2021.
skill matchup. I don't think that any champion like inherently has an advantage. Obviously,
But we have
Orianna
Leona
can have
That,
an
banner.
advantage
yeah,
early
Leona banner. That's
because an auto
Where do you
attack
have to
trade
get
she's
that
going to
banner? It's on
outdamage
all your
Brand.
characters.
It's
But you're
the
gonna have to wait for
performance.
his abilities to be on cooldown before you can actually move
They
into
give
him.
you like
I think Brand has more early damage built into him, so if it comes down to like an all-in or something, I would assume that Brand would win that early. This is fine, using the ball to control the
No.
brush
they
here.
don't have any long range hooks, so
I mean they have
That was
Rakan.
nice.
I assume the brand is in there.
Set this a little lower. Nope. Okay. Like I want to have at least like some semblance of game sound because sometimes there's important auditory cues. It's just like Discord is so loud.
are you gonna be okay? Yeah, Garen's very athletic.
He's also a mech. But he's a small mech, which just makes him a robot. I'm so confused.
It's a cyborg, yeah.
Sorry, I just walked up
Okay.
to it and didn't attack, and I don't know why it didn't. Oh, hello.
We do have monoflow in this matchup, so you should be kind of looking
I
to,
should have figured they'd do that.
yeah, like Q onto him more directly after it comes up. I think that you could take like teleport in this matchup and look to take more aggressive trades and then sort of use teleport for better resets, but it's fine. I don't know how much value you can actually get out of barrier. The big thing about like Brand is that if you allow him, you fucked up that minion. Yeah. If you allow Brandas to get like a perma
I'm
shove
watching
on you
you.
and just push you under tower, you're not gonna have the best time because his abilities are just so long range. Like he never has to step into tower range to do anything on you. But then because he's got the percent max health bleed, like he can actually hurt you for a lot under your tower without ever being under risk of even taking a single shot. So you don't want to let him get like a full push on you the entire time.
I'm gonna drop a ward in the river.
I don't think we're looking to use our W too much in the early trades. I don't think that the 70 cost is worth like an offset here.
I found
I think
Cade.
that if you're using W, you're probably just using it to clear the waves. And it's probably like after level 5. I think that's when you can like Q through the wave, W the backline, and E it back to you and have it kill it, right? Either 5 or 7. Whatever. So one thing we could be doing. Oh god. One thing we could be doing is, well, you're going to continue to do it, so I'll show you on the next wave.
Fuck.
Again, this river ward here is pretty lazy. If we acknowledge that wards are supposed to modify our behavior, then we know that there's not going to really be a behavior modification in this river. It might show an impending gank, but again, I don't know how valuable that actually is. Because Orianna's so immobile, so if the jungler already like can loop behind you in some way out of river, you're probably just dead anyways, right?
Brand Mian.
Shit. I wasted all my shit because I suck.
Kane is at Raptors.
Our Raptors are his.
Ours.
Right.
Yeah. That ward is also pretty bad. Like, you don't need to get vision if you know that he's
Fucking
there.
dare you, you piece of
Why
shit.
bother looking at him at that point? Now you're not going to have a second ward for like 3 minutes. Don't need to barrier. The pop damage doesn't do a lot early. It's mostly like, that's not really how Brand's killing people. He's killing people through like damage over time with his passive, and then he's killing people in team fights with that thing
Yeah,
because
enemy
it's
has
allowing
vision
it to
right
pop
here.
multiple times. Can't recall here. It's pretty greedy. The biscuit is fine. So you and Brand
We're
are
gonna
both in a
complete
spot
the
right
first
now.
drag, then I'm gonna
Why
go
is this
to
exiting full screen?
and
What is happening right now?
spot.
Bot's pushing pretty hard.
So you and Brand are both in a spot right now where you don't have like a ton of resources to look for any sort of all-in. Brand's got maybe a little bit more mana than you do, but overall, like I don't think that you can really die. I think that you have enough HP to survive even a full combo from him. So at this point, we're pretty much just looking to farm it out. That's my impression of the lane at this point.
Yeah.
Darius just
All right, so this is the thing that you keep doing. I said that I would come back to it the next wave, but then it was interrupted because of the cane thing. So you keep positioning, like the entire lane phase I've been watching this. You keep positioning like if you have melees here, you know, and then these are your casters, you keep positioning like somewhere in this pocket. So you're putting yourself like right in the middle of the wave, and then you're kind of like trying to juke like in and out of the caster line to see if he'll actually be able to clip you with the circle radius. The way that you can play against Brand, which is way better and easier, is assuming that, you know, you have a wave. You can just play way outside of the wave. I don't want to make that a circle. So we can just play way outside of the wave here. So Brand has to make a choice. Does he try to pillar the wave and get like damage on it, or does he try to pillar you? And at that point, you can pretty much tell what type of player Brand is. Because if he's at this level of mana and trying to go for trades onto you when you know that you have enough HP to survive even a full combo, then you know that this Brand player is bad. And he's just going to look to harass. So at that point, like your mission just kind of becomes like juking out of the circle. But whenever this happens, like if he's not casting abilities on the wave, then you're gonna naturally get like a shove on him. And Brand is not a champion that really wants to farm under his tower, because if you push him under his tower, he's probably having to WE the wave a lot, and he's probably still missing CS because his burn makes it like a little bit strange to last hit like weird HP value minions. In some ways, it can benefit him obviously, but in some ways it also makes it more difficult. It's just awkward. So you kind of just like keep him honest. You just see if he's actually good enough to do it under his tower. Especially because you have a spammable spell. So you can still get like monoflow stacks onto him standing outside of the wave. You just place the ball somewhere, and then you can just ball onto him, and then you can ball back to the wave because it's going to come up before he can like really like heavily trade onto you, right? So because you've been playing in and out of the wave so much, you've used all of your sustain. You're going to get one more biscuit. But you've used like all of your sustain at this point in the lane. You haven't really gotten anything out of it. He still has like some mana. He's not totally empty. But you use everything. So when you back, you're going to have to buy some form of potions or something.
got really confident in front of me, which means the jungler is right
Still
there.
using W to
Yeah,
trade
there he
onto
is.
him. Again, I just don't think that the
So
W
fucking
damage is very valuable
predictable.
early.
He just all of a sudden
Could
went from a
easily be
pussy
done
cat to
to
a tiger.
Alright.
Alright.
just hit the
He's fighting
minions.
a little bit.
Neither of you have the mana to look for all-ins on each other, so I don't
Fine.
really see the point of trying to
Fine.
take like heavy mana trades.
Alright.
Costs 70. It's a lot.
It's called individual volume control. You guys should know to put me down.
Jesus.
Oh,
That's
that's
maybe.
unfortunate.
I didn't even realize Grace was here to go in because I couldn't hear anything. So sorry.
Well, you knew the jungler was top. You guys could make those calls.
Let's go.
I'll ping
130,
next time.
170. So at this point, you could look to clear the wave with like the QWE combo.
Darius and like giggling there was useful.
and then just look for a recall, because Brand's obviously not going to be able to farm the wave that you just shoved into him and stop your back. Both of you are like effectively at 0 mana right
They're
now.
behind on farm.
But then as a result, like, you're going to have a hard time shoving this wave. No reason to pop the cookie here because we're not trying to get the sustain, and we don't need the item slot. We really want to back. We W one minion, which then we E one minion. Yeah.
He's back.
Yeah. So because our positioning was awkward, ooh, and Kane stops our back. That's pretty bad too. We're not looking to WQ and chase Kane with autos.
Let
We
me know
can't
if you
kill
go
him.
top side.
Kane was.
Now we're
top
almost like
side
stuck in
his
mid,
raptors.
because Brand's gonna get
They
back
should
here.
have
And
gotten back.
like, we're not stuck because we can
Look
still
at that,
recall.
look
It's
at
just
that.
like Brand's gonna be able to show back up and
Yeah.
shove that wave in the
Top
tower, and now you
Drake,
miss creeps.
Drake.
Top
Which if
teleporting
Kane just
back
stopped your
up.
recall and then you
Y'all
whatever, like, queued him to get
Okay.
the mana flow if you needed it, and then just walk behind your tower
I have a ward in one.
and recalled again, you would have saved a few seconds.
Oh, okay.
Don't have a
Underrated
pink ward right now, which is pretty
mid as
bad.
well.
Pinks help out our jungler.
He was at the Raptors. He's probably red buff Krugs right now.
They're gonna come to this, so it should be ours.
okay.
And since he was top side, we just have to put a ward and rift
Khan's
here
coming that way.
if you have one.
I don't hate that roam by Garen, but it's a little bit awkward
Yes, no,
because
I walked back
obviously
into it.
you're never going to get anything out of that. Yeah. I wasn't paying exact attention, but I'm assuming that Garen had to burn flash to get out of that situation alive, or the enemy just egregiously misplayed it.
Kane is here.
Again, I think that we just go back to shoving Brand under the tower here.
He's still
Yeah,
chasing
like
you?
we just look to like shove the wave, but we don't want to W him. We want to W the casters. Can't really accomplish anything on this roam. So
I see. Oh, he
okay,
gets sick.
so
Kane
this
is
is what
here.
we're seeing. I want to get at the closest point in time
He's
before we
still
see.
chasing you?
Okay. So you have a melee here. So 1, 2, cannon, and then 2 casters. Compared to your minions, which you have a cannon, 2 melees, and 3 casters. So you know that the wave is shoving out. So maybe you're looking at this and saying, like, this is a good opportunity to run there and maybe potentially get something, because the wave's not shoving into me, and so therefore I won't lose minions under tower. But what you're not accounting for is the fact that you can lose minions to minions, and it's just as bad as losing minions to tower. Maybe not like just as bad, because minions hitting the tower is going to do a little bit of chip damage, right? But when you lose minions to minions, you're still missing out on the XP, you're still missing out on the gold. So because we weren't actually looking, like, all of this is set up because of your playstyle, that you're still trying to W and put like all the harass on the Brand instead of just clearing the tower. Like when you walk back into the lane and the wave was kind of like stuck here, and I said like, oh, maybe we should just shove Brand under. If we did shove Brand under at that point in time, we could have actually left because the wave would be under the tower, and so we could leave and go to this for free. But because of the way that the lane is right now, we actually will miss all of this if we leave. Like if we're actually able, so we know how the play plays out. Like Kane ends up going under the tower and dying before you get there, so you're able to return to lane. But let's say that this becomes a very extended type of fight, and you just straight up leave. Brand is not going to follow you, because Brand can't follow you because the wave's coming into him. And Brand's so much further away, it would take such a long time for him to even get there. And then if he did get there and couldn't kill things immediately, like, he's obviously like very overextended, and so he just dies if the fight goes sour for him. So Brand's not in a position where he wants to leave. So Brand's going to stay here and absorb these minions. So what this will actually do is, with the reinforcing wave, he can actually set up like a hold right here. It's not going to be a perma-freeze or anything, but he can set up a hold somewhere between these lines. And now you have to overextend whenever you come back from your roam. you have to overextend to stand here, which is good for Brand because it allows him to put like a really good trade onto you while you try to shove the wave under tower to get the reset. And it's also very good for Kayn, even if Kayn dies, because Kayn has a lot of angles to gank from, and you don't have a pink in your inventory, which means that you have less vision than you should have against the Kayn, which should make you extra scared if you decide to actually walk up and try to break this freeze.
Oh, he hit 6.
I'm low on health, but I'm on my way.
So in this situation, you actually just can't leave. If your jungler can't outplay the situation, I mean, that sucks for him, but this is just kind of,
Nice
you know,
job.
like this is a situation where you've made your bed and you just have to lie on it, you know?
Oh, Darius.
Brand ends up leaving, which is like really bad. Like it's a bad decision on his part. Bad mechanics all around.
Raise
So
mid.
I think if you walk forward to get the single auto on Darius, you would have killed him, but of course Brand would have killed you after that.
I almost killed
Now
the
let's take a
Darius,
look
he
at the
got like
wave.
2 HP.
So as we're recalling, we can look at the wave. Yep.
Hell.
Ah, we missed it.
Alright, I almost killed the Darius. He's got like 2 HP. Fuck.
Okay. So the wave is behaving exactly the way that I thought it would. So you have 2 and 3, and then he has 1 and 2, which means that, again, you're going to have a pretty hard time actually doing anything about this. Even if Brand like chooses to recall, he can just like recall wherever he is right here, and he can just be and go back to base. And then he can come back, and the wave will not have crashed to his tower, because these minions aren't going to die fast enough to do anything, I don't think. I can't exactly see based on the mini-map, but because top lane minion is right here, you're going to assume that your minions are like passing your tower right now or something. They're like right in front of your tier 2. Which means that his minion wave is like right behind this, so it's like just off the screen right now. So these minions aren't going to die fast enough to allow this wave to shove up under the tower, and so they're actually just going to clash. Maybe like somewhere between these two lines. And then from here, Brand basically has like almost a 3 caster thing, which is pretty much all you need in mid lane to perm freeze. It's not a full HP caster, so it's not going to be like a perfect permanent freeze, but it's not going to break unless he does something stupid, or unless the minion RNG is just really, really bad.
Should have asked jungle for help.
I thought he was dead. It's my
Basically, we're screwed right now.
He had full
Take
health.
a time to take risk.
The only way we become unscrewed is if Brand lets us back into the game, which he does. Yeah. So Brand just lets us back into the game. That doesn't make our decision right or good.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You could have gotten a double kill.
What's going on bot?
We could have picked up tier 1s.
Basically,
Like you should kind of recognize that
they're ahead and they got
there's been opportunities to take like a few back so far this game.
kind of stuck.
So recalling into tier 1s, unless you have magical footwear, I don't actually know.
Taking plates top.
But getting tier 1s on that back would have been okay. We just want to shove the wave because we know where Brand was.
You saw me put the word there.
Q through this, yeah.
I'm gonna look to go bot. I don't know.
Okay, now we can look for roam opportunities. So where we're at in this lane is in a position where the wave is now shoved into the tower. We have nothing to do. We don't have a ton of gold. I mean, we could recall into like boots and refillable, but I don't know how valuable that is. Boots refillable and a pink maybe. Maybe that has some value. I don't really know. But then just judging by the lane states, like Garen is kind of shoved Darius under right now. So we could pan our camera over here and see what's actually happening. For example, if the minion wave is... So if red side minion wave is actually dead, right? And we know red side minions are like right here. So if Garen has killed the entire minion wave and still has a minion wave shoving in, then Darius will probably let it crash to tower because Darius can clear under tower very easily. What ends up happening is that sets up a push towards top lane. So there will be a moment of time in which Darius is susceptible to a gank. So if you feel like this is the case, then we can start walking top lane. I think that you're cheating bottom because bottom is kind of extended right now in the lane. So you're thinking that maybe we can get like a roam off the bottom. And I think that this is fine as well. But without panning our cameras, like as soon as we shove that wave, without panning our camera, we don't actually have the information we need to make that call.
Like
I'm
so
also
far
gonna look.
Unless you're communicating that in voice comms or whatever. What we can do after clearing this pink is still just walk like into the bot river. We don't have to make all the way down there. Like we don't have to commit to the roam, but we can walk and go to like right here and kind of just watch the lane as we're walking. We don't really need to watch ourselves. But we can just pan our camera to bot lane and watch what happens if we get to this point. And if they're continuing to stay and hit the tower and stuff, and you think that you have playmaking potential, then we can commit to the roam and keep going. Otherwise, we can just come back to the lane because the minion wave is going to be resetting like right now.
We do have Leona ult. In a second,
Don't.
right? Should be soon.
I have ult. Oh, never
Yep.
I
mind.
don't know if
Okay, so we see the cane, we see the scuttle.
coming.
Obviously, the roam's not going to work, and so we can just return to mid lane.
Top side.
No real reason to hit the plant.
It's not low
Like
at all.
you're hitting the plant to
No,
get
you
vision
just
on
caught me while
vision
I
that you
was
don't
trying to
have, but
rotate there.
I mean, you knew where he was, so there was no real point to do that. I think that maybe you hit the plant to allow yourself a greedy way back into the lane by walking through the river when you could have just walked behind the wall. You're still trying to commit really hard to this roam down here, which doesn't make any sense. So Brand's already, like, so Brand shoved one wave on you because you committed, like, to the roam, and then you ran into Kayn, and Kayn delayed you, so you missed 2 melee minions. Because of that, you were able to get the other 4 in XP, but you missed 2 minions of XP.
nice.
Now you're
Cane,
coming
cane,
back,
cane,
but
cane.
Brand's shoving that wave right now.
You can get a lot of plates here. Probably.
And so you're going to lose a wave in mid. You can make it up by, like, helping your AD carry shove this wave, but your AD carry doesn't really need any help because her laner's dead. So now you just shared half a wave of XP, but you just lost an entire wave. So you went down like 8 minions. Now your jungler's clearing this. So you've lost 9 minions.
I don't.
Alright.
10 minions.
Dragon's up in a minute, guys.
Yeah. So we've lost 10 minions because you just kept trying to force the roam bottom. We don't need to force anything there.
Yeah, Kane is gonna be top
He
side.
could
so
be. He could be there right now though.
Yeah, he's alive by now for sure.
About to take my
Oh, yeah.
fourth place. So greedy.
So what's the plan here? So the waves have gotten a full reset, right? So what's the plan in this lane? The first thing that we should be doing is clicking on Brand because it's been a while since we've seen Brand. Not like a while in that he just ducked out of vision and then came back, right? So that's not, it hasn't been like a while, but it's been a while since we've actually tried to look at his items or tried to fight him or tried to lane against him or any of that stuff. Like for the, you both reset and then for 2 waves, like you were out of the lane while he was shoving it and now you're coming back into the lane after a full minion reset. So we can click on him and see what items he has. We can see, maybe we can get some insight as to how he wants to play the lane. Maybe we can get some insight into how he, like, does he want to roam? Does he not want to roam? Like, did he rush tier 2 boots? And so if he did, maybe he's looking for plays in the side lanes. But if he rushed, if he has chapter or something, maybe he's looking to stay in the lane and have an extended lane phase. We don't actually know, what he has. In any case, well, let's just play this out and see if you can get some information on him.
We do not.
I feel like.
Nope, so we're just not clicking him. Okay, so we start to get into like wave stacking here. So this is wave A. So on wave A, can we really interact with Brand? Probably not. I did say that Brand outdamages us early. At this point, like early is starting to fall off, but he seems to have a level advantage on us right now. We're 8, he's 9. It's because we missed those 10 minions of XP, so we're pretty close to leveling up. We will level up on this wave, but are we going to level up and look for an all-in at the same time? Probably not, just because Brand already has level advantage. So if we try to force trade on him, he can get like a really good trade on us with level lead, and then I don't think even at that point hitting level 9 to level 9, I don't think that we're going to be able to kill. So wave A, we can't really interact with them. Wave B, so if we just play the lane slow like we're doing right now, what can we actually accomplish on wave B? At that point, we'll be level 9 to level 9. However, we don't have any vision because you haven't bought any pinks. We have something here in river. We have like no information on where Kane is. It's 12 minutes. So things are strange. We know that he died bot a little while ago. You can assume that that means that he's probably going to be somewhere into the top side. And so if we had a pink, we could definitely pink Pixel Brush, and that would help us out. We do have a trinket. We could go drop trinket over his raptor wall, and maybe that would help us out. Kane's just a really hard champion to play against because of all the angles that he can take. So you really want to know what side of the jungle he's on. But because we don't really have any information on that, are we looking to kill Brand on the next wave? No, unless Kane shows. Even then, can we really kill Brand on the next wave? I think that if we outplay him, we can, because we have more sustained damage via Q, and so if we can dodge his W, I think that's the pillar, right? So if we can dodge the pillar, then it's really hard for him to like go for an all-in on us unless we stand within our minion wave, and then he can R, and then it just bounces back and forth between the minions, and he can get a lot of free damage that way. But if we're standing outside of the wave like we should be, it's pretty hard for the ult to get a bounce off into the minion wave and come back. So, like if he ults and it hits us, then we can just walk even further away. And I'm talking about the top side of the lane because I expect the vision to be on the top side right now. If you had a pink, it would be in top pixel, and if you had the ward over the raptor wall, then obviously you would have some information to know that you're safe here. So we're trying to play the top side of the lane. We're also trying to play the top side of the lane because we're in proximity to our jungler by doing this. Even though he's on Gromp, he's still pretty far away. It's at least better than nothing. It's not like he's clearing Krugs and we're cheating top side. He's clearing a top side camp, so it's okay to cheat top. I don't think, though, that without information on Kane, and with the lack of vision that you've put down so far, I'm not sure if we can actually do anything on wave B. So what we could look to do is just slow push A. He's allowing us to get a slow push here. We know this because we have one minion still, like a half a minion, and his minion died. And so you have 3 casters to 3 casters, so we can just look double stack a wave and then just crash those. So this is something that can occur on wave B. For some reason, do we want to wait until wave C? I mean, probably not, because by the time the reinforcing waves come and they crash, they're probably going to shove the wave line a little bit closer to his tower, just because you're trying to push a little bit more than he is. So if we wait for a wave C, that means that we're going to have to heavily overextend into the lane, and we already talked about how we don't have vision. So I don't really want to plan to overextend into the lane. We're probably not looking for anything on wave C. So it seems like our best option right now is taking the slow push on wave A and then looking to crash on wave B. And then we can just recall and spend the gold that we'll have at that point in time.
Yeah, totally. There he is.
Okay, top
I'm
tower's
running up to
going down.
Rift.
Maybe
Oh, you
not.
don't
I'll take
have
Rift.
to move, right?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. I got BF.
Top tower's not going down.
Okay.
Realistically.
Maybe your jungler called this play on Kane or something, so we go for a kill here. I'm not opposed to this. This isn't the worst thing in the world.
Don't have smite for it.
We know that Brand's coming now, and this is a really dangerous situation because Brand uses the ult. Ult kind of doesn't really do anything. We're very low HP, so we want to play this pretty
Oh, that's
safe.
bullshit. Like, no
Unfortunate
how.
that we couldn't end up getting the
Oh my
Darius.
God, nobody picked up the rift. Here, no thing.
This is still that wave B thing that we can actually crash still. I don't know why we're walking towards the eye when we have 2 teammates that are closer to it than
That
That
us.
was last second. It was blinking.
Yeah.
I'm used to giving it to the jungler.
Alright, so because of the way that the lanes have played out, this is still wave B, so wave B is going to crash into our tower as a cannon wave, and so what we can actually do is look to stay and shove this out because you assume that Brand wants to recall here, or because Brand shows, then yes, we would finish our recall and just bite the bullet on missing the 2 minions or whatever.
Their jungler just died, so.
I gotta
Looks
wait
like you're
for
just
my
going to
gold.
commit to
We're
missing the
going
whole
for
wave here.
Going for the
Doing the
Drake.
dragon.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys can contest it.
Graves?
Don't really agree with that. I think that you could have like gotten a different buy-in that would have had some equally good value.
Oh, fuck.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, no. Get out.
Instead we miss another wave, so at
Yeah,
this point we've missed like 16 minions, and that's just the minions I was counting. Whenever I say miss, I'm talking more about XP than last hits. Obviously, you're not going to last hit perfectly. You're not an Orianna main or anything, so I don't really care about that.
We might get
But the
caught.
XP is valuable.
I wanted you to cover that mid lane wave there, and then you would have been in position to not have Kane steal all this.
Don't really
gold.
need to E there.
That's alright.
Kane's not going to come on us under the tower. Doesn't really have any
Understood.
backup.
Yeah, Kane's here, but I don't think he can do anything.
So I'm not sure if you know how this wave clear thing is supposed to look like with Orianna. So I'll just do like a quick bit on this. Okay. So the wave is coming in, right? So what you want to do is wait for the wave to finalize. So it's going to have melees, you know, it's going to have a cannon, and it's going to have the casters. So the way that you're going to actually clear this wave the most efficiently is you walk up, so like right before the melees, you're going to throw Q through the wave. So this is going to be Q. Once the ball gets back here, it'll be somewhere in a spot, maybe not quite that far. So you're going to throw it back. Obviously, I'm not saying like where exactly you're going to stand and throw the ball, because this is to the side of the wave, right? I'm talking like in terms of distance. So you would stand like right here and throw it, right? Okay, so put this back. So you're going to stand like right in front of the melees. You're going to Q through them so that the ball is like between the cannon and the casters. Then while the ball is right here, you're going to W, which is going to hit all of those minions. And then if you put the ball like in the exact right spot, like you can put it between the cannon and the caster so that the ball's kind of like clipping the casters. It's a little bit like, it's a little bit on them, but it's still in W range to hit the cannon. W would do like this type of thing, right? And so then you're going to recall the ball to you with E. And so what that does is, like, you're level 9, you have AP. It should definitely, at this point in the game, it should definitely just like one-shot the back line and then deal like a lot of damage to the cannon and then the melees. So now that the ball's on you, then you can just wait and then cue the ball through back to the cannon again. And then just auto-attack the cannon until it dies. That's like pretty much how this should work. So you're going to get the Q and the E damage on the front line, and then a second Q, and then you're going to get the QWE damage on the back line. And then the cannon you're going to be able to kill with autos. So that's like the efficient wave clear method with Orianna.
Kane's here, but I don't think he can do anything.
And that's a static thing. This rift is actually pretty nice because Brand doesn't have
Alright,
the...
GG.
Wow. You guys grouped right on each other.
Didn't do much. Back up, back up. Can't.
Wow. Again, really bad micro all around.
Nice work, bro.
No real reason to chase
Yeah,
Brand.
my
We're not
only
doing
play-
anything
my
there.
only autoplay can be clean if it has to be. Like, if they're going to make it so easy for me, like, oh, they
You should be
flash
able
on
to
me,
stay
I
and
guess
take
I
the
can
tower
flash
with Garen
away
at this
and
point.
ult them towards me.
Dude, big tower W. That cane was
Like, you can
stupid,
threaten to
tower
dive here.
Oh my
Brand
God.
doesn't have anything. I don't know if he has enough mana to E and Q.
Right?
I think
So
they have
now
vision.
The Garen.
I get
And
to
even if he
keep
does,
blue
like,
here.
Garen has a W.
There we go. So now we'll know when Kane takes his blue.
We can't really invade this blue.
I guess figured out where they are.
Alright. I always overestimate my E's damage to minions, though. Kane's top. Darius top.
This is okay. And then we're going to do the wave clear thing. Yes, and then, okay. Yeah, so you kind of did it. It was like a little bit awkward because you didn't get that third caster in there, but that's fine. Okay,
Yeah,
and then you just
taking
look to
the
recall into
top,
Lost Chapter.
Whatever those are called. They're forever
Recall, or not Lost
Here, I'm
Chapter.
coming. I don't have ult. Do they have
Ludens.
this
I
warded?
don't
Recall into
recommend
Ludens.
taking
Yeah,
the
there's
other-
a control word there.
Not sure why we're
Okay,
trying
I'm
to
just
make
going
a
to
play
try and
here.
help you hold
It
this.
could be recalling into Ludens. Could still be recalling into Ludens. We don't have ult. I mean,
Oh. Okay,
we
I
end
guess
up
I didn't
getting
even
like
use
another
mine.
kill, but like, okay, I don't know why Brand
I have
decides to
ult, I
show
have
up
ult.
here. Brand should just be shoving the wave. Brand
needs to
probably
engage on
can't
the
turn
one,
this because bot lane's pretty far ahead.
Yeah, peer
Like
to
your
jungle.
bot lane's ahead and their bot lane's behind. So I don't know why Brand's trying to like take a 1v3 or a 2v3 fight. Brand could have easily stayed
I don't know,
mid.
'cause I don't really have any vision.
Can you engage on
Denied you another 6 minions, so you'd be 22 minions behind
I
him
can
in
engage,
terms of
yes.
XP.
But
I have
And
ult,
it would have
so-
still forced the rotation out of Garen to cover the tower, which means that Darius should have been able to take the top tower solo. We're still not recalling into Ludens.
Got this.
Alright.
Not clean up.
Not sure if we can
Alright, I'm
ever
just gonna
kill
back off
Rakan.
that.
If we are going to
Can
kill
play
Rakan, it
below.
starts with Leona
They're
executing the
ranked hard,
dive.
So we need to get something out of it.
There's no point for Garen showing up there. Garen could just continue to show mid. So like the fact that like you stay for so long and then end up like getting a kill because you poke them down and then Garen shows or something like that, that doesn't change the fact that those events don't have to occur and Rakan doesn't have to stay under the tower by himself anyways. Rakan sees 3 people. Like, okay, so the Garen's out of vision even, but he sees 3 people hitting the tower. Rakan's not going to stay and try to do anything anyways because we've already talked about how their bot lane's behind and your bot lane's ahead. So even if Xayah shows back up to the lane and makes it a 2v3, they're not going to do anything to prevent you from taking the tower if you want to take the tower. So there's no reason for Rakan to be there. Rakan like being there and then you end up getting something out of it that doesn't make it good at all. Just means that he played worse than you did. Anyways, that's where I'm going to stop. It's like 17.5 minutes. Obviously, there's starting to be a lot of rotations around the map, so this seems like a good enough stopping place.